Well, can City pile the pressure on Arsenal the night before they play against Newcastle United? Well. That's a good question because live on talkSPORT, 8 o'clock, Manchester City against Newcastle, Saturday night. Newcastle, who can't win away. Eddie Howe is a terrible manager and he's completely lost it. Have won 3 in a row on the road, Crook, including an absolute thumping of Karabag.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. And, I watched the first half of that game. It didn't see much point in watching the second, but they absolutely terrorised Karabag, didn't they? Anthony Gordon, in particular, I've got to say, was really impressive, and it'll be interesting to see what he does with the team now, because he's utilised Anthony Gordon as a false number 9. Obviously, Nick Voltemada has stopped scoring. I think a lot of Newcastle fans are already deciding that Johan Wissa maybe is not up to the task. So, yeah, I'll be intrigued by the lineup. Obviously, they did well against City in the league game at St James's Park, but going away to the Etihad is a different kettle of fish, particularly where Eddie Howe is concerned. And it was a pretty easy win, wasn't it, for City when they met in the League Cup? So, as much as Newcastle are in a decent vein of form, I do expect City to win this game and put that scoreboard pressure on Arsenal.
It's a really annoying situation where you can probably play someone a little bit too much, and Manchester City and Newcastle
Yeah.
arguably in that zone because they played each other just, I think, the end of November. They played each other twice in the Carabao Cup. They're playing each other on Saturday night, and then in 2 weeks' time, they're going to play each other in the FA Cup. It's like really like, oh, it's like, I've had enough of you now. I'm getting sick to death of seeing the sight of you, especially if you keep losing, which unfortunately for Newcastle has seemed to be the case. They were well beaten in that second leg of the semi-final, but I think they would have learned from that, Scott. There were certain things in that game where they, especially over the 2 legs actually, where they actually had some joy against Manchester City. And I wonder whether or not they'll apply the same tactic of that, trying to desperately get in behind that defense, using speed to get down the flanks and create chances. If you think about even the second leg, where they conceded 3 very odd goals to go 3-0 down, but had at the other end 3 absolutely corking chances in the same half of football, there might be an opportunity here for them just to halt Manchester City's attempt to catch Arsenal.
Yeah, and I like the look of Anthony Gordon as a centre forward as well, and the pace and that he gives, the running of the channels, the press that he starts. I was at Villa Park where for the FA Cup game where
Oh, we were both there.
yeah, exactly, another away game where they found a way to win the game. Now, obviously, there was madness of the keeper getting sent off, but that still wasn't easy to do, and they were very, very good. Nick Voltemada doesn't score because he's not allowed to take any penalties.
Yeah, he did actually score last Saturday night.
He did score at Villa Park, absolutely. He scored very late on just to finish it off. And that's why I think, look, I get it with Anthony Gordon, but actually it would have been a nice touch just to let Nick Voltemada's confidence go up, back-to-back goals.
Why?
Because strikers are fragile.
But he wants to win the Golden Boot in the Champions League.
Well, then it's about him, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, he was a striker.
Okay. Well, that's I personally, whether it's the left back in me, I don't know, just would have said, you know what, I've already got a hat trick. I'm going to pass this to you because I know that if we are to go deep in competitions and try and finish in the top 5, we need everyone. It can't just be me. So,
and I agree with you. I agree to a point, but I also agree. I can see Anthony Gordon's issue here. It's not half time yet. We've got another 3 halves of football to play before we're guaranteed to be in the last 16. I just want to make sure we score the penalty, so we put this game to bed.
No, he doesn't. He wants to do it for him, and that's fine. I don't mind that. For me, that's a proper striker's mentality, and that's another reason why I like it. And I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying I understand where Kieran Trippier was coming from and saying, look, this is a team thing here, and we want our guy who's been under pressure. Crookie's just said he hasn't scored for ages, even though he did score in the previous game. But if you can get back-to-back goals, then that will give him a lot more confidence. And that's something I would have done. But they look impressive now, Newcastle. You're right.
Yeah.
Where we were thrown at them, you're good at home, you're not good away. But they're kind of putting that to bed. And they're on a little bit of a crest of a wave here. So This could be
And
a
the
really
tactical
interesting
tweak,
game.
you know, everyone turned around and said, "Oh, Eddie Howe, he doesn't, he is too stale. He can't do this and he can't do that." Well, he immediately changed it straight away. So he changed the way they play by having them with the false nine and the wingers that with real speed getting in behind, almost like split strikers. They've moved fluidly around. He's changed that midfield. He's had to change that midfield
Yeah.
as well. They're slightly less front-footed, so they still put a lot of energy and intensity to it, but they're not as much because they were tiring late in games and conceding a lot of goals. And there is a bit of fight about them, a little bit of spice about them, but there's also unity. And I like the fact that Kieran Trippier lost his head with Gordon, had a word with him, still kept going as they went down the tunnel, and then went into an interview, had clearly been told by Eddie, you can both go out and do the interview and apologise to everyone. And then they were like, I love you. No, but I get your point, and I get your point. No, but you were right, and I know you were right. Yeah. It was great. It was like, yeah, okay, all right, we've made up now. We're all friends.
Can I just respond to Scott's late tackle there? I didn't say he's not scored for ages. I said the goals have dried up. He scored once in 16 games, Scott. So I think you'll find I'm factually correct. But cheers for going studs up there.
I'll listen back to it later.
you should.
We'll send you an apology if needed, Quickie.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say about this game, Sam, in the negative side of Newcastle is the travelling. You know, there's a lot of travelling. There's a disrupted sleep patterns. They have their own injuries as well. City are playing at home. I just feel as well as Newcastle are playing away, and psychologically they're in a really good place now. City can't blow this. After what happened at Molineux midweek, and City now playing first, with Arsenal playing such a difficult game on paper the next day, they have to put in that hammer blow. They have to win this game.
It would be so Arsenal, though, to get away with it, because whenever they have slipped up recently, City haven't taken advantage. Whenever the door has been left ajar, they've not really gone through it. So it wouldn't be a complete shock if they drop points and then Arsenal go and beat Tottenham and suddenly the narrative changes again.
Well, we do like a narrative, don't we? This season's a little. We could call this the Crook edition, couldn't we? Because it's flip-flopping all over the place. That's the title race.